Hey gang, a video about having an ad created using Enjoy Designers. We have two ways to secure an ad for the magazine. One is to have it submitted by your advertiser. Often they will have their own team of designers. They create the ad, we provide the specs, and they submit it to you on email. And then you email that to Rhonda Alvey, our editor-in-chief, who puts it in the magazine, and that's it. Piece of cake. There are others that want our help designing their ad. And that's the way I always approach it. I talk to them in terms of having us help them design their ad as opposed to we'll design their ad, because we need their help to decide what it is they want on the ad. Everybody thinks they're a designer. You'll find out that business people, business owners especially, because of the nature of the entrepreneurial spirit, feel like they know how to do everything and they're experts at everything. Uh, we have to be experts at what we do as well. So we will consult with them. And side note, I consult as far as they'll allow me. If they decide they want to go their route, we will gladly take their money and create an ad the way they want it and print it, and off we'll go. Otherwise, there's lots of people that don't know how to design an ad, and they'll be upfront, hey, I don't know how to do this. This isn't my thing. You're the expert. And your answer, even if it's going to be your very first ad, is yes, I am. I know how to do this. I make my living doing this, and I'm going to show you. I've shown you how to do that. Actually, I'll talk about that in a second. But this is a video about how you get everything you need to our designer and get it back to the advertiser until they approve the ad and it goes ready to print. So here we go. The advertising sales and marketing consultant determines what's being created ultimately with consulting, after consulting with the advertising client. I have a video creating an effective print ad that you'll need to watch first if you've gotten to this one before watching that one. That one will talk about how to go about creating the ad, the psychology and the formula we use, which is provoke, agitate, and solve. How to create an ad that flows top to bottom, left to right, the way we read, and create something that's an effective mechanical piece that will actually call people to action when they latch their eyeballs onto the ad. So all that said, you've learned how to create an ad through that information on that video. Now you're ready to actually have the ad created. That's what this video is about. You will find in the stuff in your materials that you will received an ad design worksheet. And I'm realizing I really should have put this on the video I just mentioned, but this talks in terms of headline or provoke, agitate, and solve, the formula I just mentioned. And by now, if you've seen that other video, you know what I'm talking about. So this gives you an opportunity to sit down with the client, take some notes, how you're going to set the ad up, what text they want, what images they want to use, if they want to use this company slogan or logo. A lot of times I'll ask, when you get to this part here, the headline, what's your logo? You know, if I'm a pest control guy and not my logo, my slogan, what is my slogan? And if I'm a pest control dude and my slogan is we kill bugs before dinner time, that becomes my headline. If he's got it all over his brochures and business cards and on the top of his website, you want to use that. Anyway, this is a little worksheet. You can do some sketching here. This is the same layout as an eighth and a half page. This is the same layout as a quarter and a full page. But just to give you a worksheet to work from while you're consulting with your client, so you capture your thoughts and ideas and notes. Next is our spec sheet. This is critical, especially, like I said before, if you're having somebody design the ad, or the company that's advertising is having somebody design their ad. But you'll want this too, because you're going to want to know all the ad sizes. You want to know how that you'll be receiving the ad. There's good information here for us as well, but this is just to give you an idea of all of our ad sizes here. Once the design concept and layout ideas are determined, it's time to contact the Enjoy designer. And here is what you're going to provide on an email. You will email to Michelle Adams at this point, at the making of this video, the ad size you want created, the headline you created, the text you want on the ad, the bullet points, if there are any images, any logos, and for sure contact information. Everything on that worksheet I just showed you. Email them, the designer, Michelle, with all that. Explain in the email exactly how the ad should be laid out. The designer will use your direction and their creativity and skill to produce the ad. If you want to provide a sketch, that's great. You don't have to, but be as clear as you can with your words on how you want things laid out. Once created, the designer will email a proof to you, not to the client. We do not put our designers in touch with clients. You're going to have clients once in a while that'll say, can I just talk to the designer? And the answer is usually no. This was a decision we made at the very beginning of the game here. I was one who thought, well, yeah, the designer should talk to the advertiser. It's what's in their head needs to go less to me and more to them. But this works. It keeps you involved with the account, helps create some relationship with you and your account. And it's not necessary because that worksheet is nothing that the designer is going to work on. The designer is merely putting the stuff together that you give them, and then they use their knowledge of the design program to make the ad look great. So all the proofing is conducted between the salesperson and the client, advertising client. So we send them the proof. Before you email the proof, you'll want to check the ad to make sure all the direction was followed that you gave the designer. And if it's not, go ahead and reach out to the designer and tell them, hey, this is wrong, or this needs to be changed, whatever, and get another proof. They will do that. Michelle, especially, no problem. She will follow your direction. Once in a while, she'll have an opinion on the way she thinks things should be, and you can either take that or leave it. It's up to you and up to the client. Now that once you have a proof that's ready to go, your first proof, you email that to the client and request their feedback. My email to them usually is, here's your ad, your feedback, please. And that's it. And then they'll either, most of the time, respond to you by email. Sometimes they want to call you. If they do, you'll need to take real clear notes, type out those notes on an email, and send that back to the designer. It's much more preferred that they email their thoughts, so you can just turn right around and forward those to the designer. Sometimes you might have to clean up the email so she understands what it is they're talking about, and I do that often because it's as clear as possible, always as clear as possible. Sometimes their return emails are a jumble, and you might have to call them or contact them to ask them what the heck they're talking about. But don't be afraid to do that. If the ad's approved by the client, when it is, really inform the designer by email that the ad's approved. If the client provides feedback, respond to the designer's email with the feedback. Edit down the client's feedback to provide the clearest direction for the designer. I just said that. Once the designer emails the next proof and the salesperson checks it, email the proof to the client. So you're back and forth. You repeat this until the ad's approved by the client for printing. When you agree to help a client create an ad, they're going to ask about the process. I always tell them, we don't print until you approve it. We'll sit down, we'll consult about what you want, we'll get a proof created, and we'll pass that proof back and forth until you approve it. Once you approve it, then we print it. I don't think this happens very much nowadays, but definitely in the past, people that did print advertising or advertisers that had print advertisements created for them often never saw their proof until it was actually printed, and then there was too late to make any changes. Never a good thing. Inform the designer once the client approves the ad. They will hand the ad off to the editor-in-chief for placement in the magazine. And then you guys, salespeople, will be given an opportunity during the proofing process to make sure the ads in the magazine and the correct ads in the magazine. That'll happen right around the 10th or 11th of the month. Each month, you'll get a PDF of the entire issue. You'll have to go through every page with your proof sheet. And I've shown you on another video how to make that proof sheet. Make sure all those ads are in there and the correct ads are in there. Couple of notes. Number the proofs in the subject line of the email to the client. So when you send that first proof in the subject line, you call it proof number 1. If they provide feedback and you get the designer to create a few changes and then send the proof back with changes, label that one proof number 2, so you can keep track of these, because once in a while you're going to get a client that you'll have 5 or 6 iterations of that ad with all the changes. And then you'll want to really make sure with ads like that the right one ends up in the magazine, because a lot of times that's all happening right up against deadline. And even sometimes what'll happen with that's happened before with me is they'll approve it, you hand it off, it goes in the magazine, then they find something else or they want something else done. I don't know if it's too late. They'll email you, are I able to make this one little change? And if you can make the change, send the new ad. But you got to make sure that when that happens, the right ad gets printed. Add the word feedback to the subject line of the feedback email to the designer. So proof number 1, feedback, proof number 2, feedback, so they know what's what as well. And I should have put this one bold and red. It's highly advised that all email text between the designer and the salesperson be erased from proof emails sent to clients. There'll be back and forth between you and the designer. Gmail, which we're all using, stacks those responses. So your remarks about your advertiser could end up on a proof email going back to the advertiser. You never want that to happen. If you want anything on that email besides the ad, you might want to leave the changes that the advertiser left for you on that email. But any discussion regarding the ad, take it off before you send it. I've made that mistake before. Not good. That is how you get an ad created from using one of our designers. This tends to bog salespeople down. It's the scariest part of the whole thing, because a lot of times salespeople have never gotten into the design game, and they look at this as like, well, this is a design function, and I'm not a designer. I didn't go to school for design. I sell stuff. This is something that can be learned, and it actually is fun, and it's creative, and it gives you an opportunity to have a deeper relationship with your client. So have fun with this. Enjoy it. If you need help, let me know. Let Michelle know. And after a while, you will become an expert on designing print ads.